Petr Cech leaves Chelsea Football Club with immediate effect. The Bowley revolution continues. And there's been a lot of change at Chelsea over the last 6 months. The Roman era coming to an end. Todd Bowley and his team arrived. And the word was the likes of Marina, Petr Cech, Bruce Buck, they would remain in an official capacity running the club for a period of time before the Bowley consortium kind of got their feet under the table and assessed where they wanted to be. But a number of things have affected the relationship and, of course, the continuation of the jobs of the likes of Marina and Petr Cech. And I, for one, as a rival, am very, very, very scared of what Chelsea Football Club are doing, because they're about to go to another level. They're about to move into the year 2022, continue spending big money, attract major targets, and maybe for the first time in a long, long while, continually back the philosophy of the manager and the club. Smash the like and share button. We're going to delve into some of their recent transfer targets, talk about Petr Cech and Marina leaving. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. Let's go. What has happened at Chelsea? Why so much change? Why a deviation from the original plan? Todd Bowley, and all through the process of getting themselves to be the new owners. We're not going to change too much. We're going to take our time with it. We're going to lean on the current regime. But why has that changed? That is the big question. And I think what's really interesting, another journalist has said that Cech and Marina wanted to keep Lukaku and Bowley wanted to back what Tuchel wanted. Chelsea fans really starting to like the way Bowley is moving. And I agree that Chelsea fans should be absolutely excited. They should be on the edge of their seats, anticipating brilliance. Absolute brilliance. Roman Abramovich was an absolutely phenomenal owner, without a shadow of a doubt. But he had a major flaw. Which I always believed stopped Chelsea, especially in the first sort of 9 to 10 years, from being the dominant force in England. Now, what a lot of people will throw at you is, well, Terry, since Roman arrived, no club in England has won more trophies in entirety than Chelsea. And I'm not suggesting that Roman was a bad owner. I'm not suggesting that Roman run the club poorly. And of course, they've won 2 Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, FA Cups, League Cups, World Club Championships, Super Cup, everything. But I believe they could have won even more. You look at the and I'm going to go into the targets in a minute and the transfers. But if you look at the first 9 to 10 years that Roman owned the club, and the previous and the last 7, 8, 9 years, the difference in the total trophies won has decreased massively. Chelsea haven't competed for a league title in 5 years. And I put that down to 2 things. More clubs got exceedingly wealthy with all the new TV deal monies going into the billions of pounds. Football clubs started earning more money through social media, online activities. So it was harder for Chelsea and other clubs to be able to buy the talent. I always remember those early days of Chelsea. You know, Scott Parker would have a good 6 months, buy him. Sean Wright-Phillips, a good period, buy him. And there was nothing wrong with that. Chelsea were flashing the cash that they had, and they spent it, and they spent it well, and they won things. So you've now got more clubs having more money. On top of that, what you have, clubs are trying to create continuity. We went through a period where sacking managers, like they were going out of fashion, was all the rage. Now, that worked when you were a big, rich, wealthy club and you weren't competing against that many other really rich, wealthy clubs. The 2 things are now intertwined: consistency within a philosophy is needed. And Chelsea Football Club, it was too hit and miss. 1 minute it's Jose, then it's Conte, then it's Sarri, then it's Lampard, then it's Tuchel. Different styles, different philosophies, different profile of player and talent IDs needed to make their ideas come alive. Chelsea never stayed in one direction long enough. And that was okay until Liverpool came back to the party and Man City really got their feet under the table with Pep Guardiola. Liverpool and City have created a team playing in their manager's complete image. But what they've done is adopted those managers' philosophies and ideas behind the scenes. And the word is that they will look to continue the majority of these ideas with a new head coach when these individuals move on. Meaning you're always ready. You're not really rebuilding. You're just refurbishing the squad every summer like top managers have always done in the past. And Chelsea need to move into 2022. You look at the targets that Chelsea are linked with. Raheem Sterling, the number one attacking target. De Ligt, the number one defensive target. Declan Rice in the middle. Some of these players were linked to Chelsea before the Bowley Group came in, but they've intensified this. The Bowley Group want to spend big, and they want to back the manager. Petr Cech, Marina, reports I've read, they wanted Lukaku for another year. Thomas Tuchel doesn't. Thomas Tuchel, it looks like he didn't really want him. And the fact that Lukaku is still asking Tuchel to change his style is something Tuchel isn't willing to do, and he shouldn't do. And this is the problem that, listen, Chelsea have won major trophies, so they won't want to be put into the same category as a Manchester United or an Arsenal that have, Man United and Arsenal in the last 5-6 years, some domestic cups, that's it. And the Europa League for Man United. But they won't really want to hear this, but it's the truth. If they would have backed Lukaku and essentially empowered player power, you make a rod for your own back in the long run. Because the next time the manager does something another star player doesn't want, they'll throw their toys out the pram, vice versa, and therefore it will continue. And you never create what Liverpool have created, what City have created, as an example. And if you think back to, Bayern Munich are a great European example. Barcelona, until their board started doing a madness, they had it kind of down. There was a continuity with the kind of style and approach the club went with different coaches at all times. There's a certain type of player they would sign, a certain type of individual that they would go for to keep their football on an even keel, as it were. And this is something that I think you're going to see at Man City and Liverpool when Klopp and Pep Guardiola eventually move on. And it's something that's been said for many, many times, that you're never going to recreate a Fergie, so don't try. You can recreate a Fergie, but you don't limit it to the manager. You make Fergie the club. The continuity is the club. And you bring in the players, the coaches, and the managers, the recruitment staff, the directors of football to manage it. Now, the other key area that has me absolutely fearful, absolutely shaking in my boots at what Chelsea are looking to do. It isn't just that they actually want to back the manager at every level, not for one summer, not in one player row, but quite literally back the manager and say, well, let's buy the players to make his style come alive. That's scary. The money they're going to spend, 200 odd million they're promising. The level of profile, the profile they're looking at right now is massive. Michael Edwards. If Chelsea Football Club bring Michael Edwards to Stamford Bridge, I'm making a big claim here. Big claim. Chelsea are going to take over in the next 3 years as the best club in England. And I say within 3 years because Pep and Klopp and what they're doing at their clubs is still there. It still exists. Chelsea can spend in and around what Man City spend. They will spend more money than Liverpool. Michael Edwards, if they can just be prudent, surgical in their approach, if they can make the signings right, dropping £100 million on a Lukaku when you didn't need a Lukaku is a madness. Hindsight's, of course, a lucrative commodity. But if Chelsea start spending their money wisely, giving a manager with the prowess, the quality, listen, he's already got a heritage in the game. He's a European champion. He's a league title-winning manager. Every final, all but one final he's got into since he's been the Chelsea manager in the last 18 months. The geezer is a phenom. Give him what he wants, invest that money, eradicate any sign of player power, and this Lukaku move does it. Chelsea, within 3 years, will become the #1 team in England again. If Liverpool would have spent what Chelsea are willing to spend on a regular basis, Liverpool would have surpassed Man City with Jurgen Klopp and their squad. They're on the edge. They're there with them. They're like neck and neck. It's just been the money. It's just been at times that the strength in depth. Listen, Konate and Luis Diaz are brilliant signings. Man City would have done that business early enough for them to have seen them over the line. You know, the deals would have been done 6 months, 12 months, 18 months sooner. FSG are slightly more prudent with their money. They spend less than Man City on transfer fees. Chelsea, I think, are going to adopt a different approach. Rivals have been absolutely gearing Chelsea up to fall down. Rivals have been looking at Chelsea as this team that's going to fall apart, that's going to collapse. You know, they're seeing Marina leave. They're seeing Pep go, Bruce Buckley. They're seeing the overhaul come. They're seeing them linked to certain players. And there's this weird kind of thought of, oh, it isn't going to work. The Roman era is gone. The Roman era is over. You don't need Roman's money anymore. As we've already alluded to, since the new TV deal monies came into effect from between 2013 and 2014, everyone's got Roman money. It's just whether or not your club are willing to spend it. And actually, you don't need to spend as much as Roman has spent in the past. You don't even need to drop $1 billion like Man United have done. If you spend it right, if you spend it correctly, and it appears that that's what the Bowley Group are willing to do. Rivals, be afraid, be very, very afraid. Chelsea, they never went away. But as I say, Michael Edwards comes in. If they land these targets, if they back Tuchel 100%, this team is going to the very, very